This is Mr. Kaufman from High 5 History with an instructional video on how to use graphic organizers to organize and plan your essays. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use a graphic organizer, actually two different types of organizers, to help plan out an argumentative essay. Now, I think graphic organizers are very important and should be a necessary step when you are sitting down to write an essay, and here's why. First, argumentative essays need to be connected and sequential, meaning your arguments need to clearly connect to your thesis, and they need to be built on to itself in a logical, sequential order, right? Sequenced with big ideas, supporting details, and evidence that all connect to your thesis. And graphic organizers are a great way to ensure that that happens. Now, the second reason why I love graphic organizers, and really I like any pre-writing step in the writing process, is it saves you time in the end. For me, as a writer, going back and revising is one of the hardest steps and one of the things that I look forward to least. Right? Typically when I am at that step, I feel like, you know what, I've already written my work. I don't want to go back in and revise it. Oh, I'm so close to being done, I just want to finish. And I know that a lot of students as well feel that way. And the way to prevent yourself from having to do major revisions is to do major planning. So if you use a graphic organizer from the beginning, your work will be better organized, your ideas will be more concise and clear, and that way when you go to revise, you don't have to do major structural changes, hopefully. You'll just have to stick to things like word choice and varying sentence structure and things that make your writing better. So the time that you put in at the beginning using a graphic organizer saves you time at the end. All right, let's get started here. So the first thing to think about is what you need to include in your graphic organizer. Now, this list is a basic list, and your organizer, or what you include in your organizer, might be different depending on the scope of your essay. But here are 4 things I think you should have. 1, you should have your thesis statement. Right? That's the center of any essay. It's the foundation to any essay, so it should be in your graphic organizer. You should also include the big ideas, right? What you're going to do to support your essay, the big ideas that support your essay. Also, you want to include some supporting details, right? Those are the things that help to explain your big ideas, background knowledge, and so forth. As well as you want to include your evidence in your graphic organizer. And again, evidence is what's going to support your or prove your big ideas and give examples of your supporting details. Now, when you're including these things, it's obviously a skimmed down, more basic version. Right? You don't have to write out every long detail, right? That's what the writing of the essay is for. But it's good to include all these parts, again, to make sure that it's organized, sequential, and it will save you time in the end. Now, 2 graphic organizers that I love, and these are the only 2 that I'm going to show you. The first would be a web. Now, a web is typically more visual, right? So if you think to yourself, I like to visualize my ideas, a web might be for you. What you do at the center or the top of your web is you put your thesis statement, right? Followed by your big ideas, your supporting details, and finally your evidence. Now, you can make yours circular and work around your thesis, or this one making it more linear, going from top to bottom. The other graphic organizer that I love is your basic outline. This is what I grew up using. This is what got me through college as well as graduate school. I still like to do it when I'm planning units or other things as well. And for me, this is more of a linear way of thinking, right? Step by step. And to me, that matches up well with writing an essay. So this one's something I might include on a piece of lined paper or a Google Doc or a Microsoft Word document. At the top, of course, again, is your thesis, the most important thing. And then you're going to write your big idea, right? Big idea number 1, supporting detail, evidence, supporting detail, maybe more evidence depending on what you have. Big idea 2, right? Supporting detail, evidence. Big idea, another supporting detail. Big idea 3, supporting detail, evidence, and so forth. Now, what else I also really like about the outline and the graphic organizers is it keeps you organized into paragraphs. Right there you can see on my paper, I have my thesis, which will be part of my opening paragraph, big idea, 1 paragraph, big idea 2, another paragraph, big idea 3, another paragraph, and so forth. Now, if I were writing a larger essay, my big ideas might continue, or if I were writing a more detailed, in-depth essay, my big ideas might be broken up into multiple paragraphs. I might break my supporting details into more evidence and so forth. Again, depending on the scope of my essay, what kind of work that needs to get put into it to prove my argument. So that's it. There's a brief overview of what goes into an outline. Now I do want to show you what that looks like using concrete examples, so stick with me here. I'm going to exit out of my presentation, slide myself down, and right here I have my notebook up and ready, and I'll stay here in the top corner. So I'm going to show you again how this might look using both a web as well as an outline. So I'll use just a simple idea that we've covered earlier on this year, which is the causes of Rome's fall. And so I might say something like, the main cause of Rome's fall was its inability to peacefully choose leaders. So, fell, couldn't choose a leader. All right, so that's going to be the center again of my web. That's my thesis. Notice again that I'm writing down a stripped down version, right? This is not the level of detail in which I would include in my essay. My thesis here is just the basic ideas of it. Now, I would, of course, write out my full thesis before I began writing my essay, again, just to test out the wording and to what I call pre-revise, give a couple of tries before I choose one that I really like. But let's continue. So one of my big ideas for here is that Rome's success was due to its strong leadership. Right? Rome's success due to strong leadership. All right, so that's a big idea. Now, what details do I have under there, right? We have that Rome is famous for its emperors, right? Strong emperors. And what's my supporting detail here? Like Marcus, right? Aurelius, right? Under Pax Romana, right? The time of peace. That's right there. That is a supporting detail. Now, I might include some evidence in there. Let's say I had a quote or something like that to back it up, and I'll go right under there. I'll go evidence. And I would even in my graphic organizer, cite it right there. That's going to help me then when I go to write it. And let's just pretend that that is from document 1. And again, I would include maybe another piece of evidence, or maybe I'm going to go here and work on another supporting detail. Over here, another supporting detail, and so forth. And then maybe on the top of my thesis, I might include my second big idea 2, and then so forth. Now again, right there I might label it as well. I might say here's my thesis, big idea 1. Right, these are just tricks and things that help you stay organized, but again, you want to do what works best for you. Now let's take a look quickly then how it might look using the same ideas, but in an outline form. All right. So here my thesis is going to go on top, and I'm just going to label it, just again to keep myself organized. Thesis, boom, right there. And again, Rome's inability to peacefully choose a new ruler was the main cause of Rome's fall. All right, so there's my thesis actually written out completely. All right, so again, this is how maybe my outline could be slightly different, and I'm going into a little more detail. Now again, what's big idea 1? Put a little heading under there. I'm going to slide it over here. Rome's success was due to strong leadership. Now, let's say you're in a time crunch. If you're doing a timed DBQ or some sort of timed assessment, you might sit here and take a look at your outline and even simplify it more. You might write something like, right, strong leadership, if you know what that meant, and then you could support it with details. Now, I'm writing it out a little bit longer hand because I'm assuming that time is not necessarily a factor in this. Now, big idea. Now, look, I'm going to come over to throw my supporting detail. Due to strong leadership, most successful times during Pax Romana under leadership of Caesar and Marcus Aurelius. And another, again, I might then choose my evidence. Let's say, again, I was going to use a quote. I might include my quote there and cite it, Doc 1. Then I come in here and I would put my second supporting detail, so forth. And then I would continue on big idea 2, and so forth. And this would then continue on until I was finished laying out all my ideas. So there you have it, right? This is how to use graphic organizers, a web or an outline to help you organize and pre-write your essay. Again, why is it important? It keeps your ideas cohesive, organized, and sequential, as well as it saves you time in the end because you are revising, right? You're pre-organizing it. That way you don't have to do major overhauls after you've already spent your time beginning. That's it. Mr. Kaufman from High Five History.